Hello and welcome to today's webinar from Agriculture to Agri-Tech, Episode 2, brought to you by Cropin Technology. Our speaker for today's session is Mr. Bhavesh Barot. He is the AVP Sales and Business Development at Cropin. He will take us through how the Agri-Tech is changing the face of today's agriculture. Thank you for joining the webinar. Before we begin, couple of housekeeping points. For the first 50 odd minutes of the webinar, everybody would be on mute. But please feel free to raise your questions in the chat box in your right. Thank you for your patience and have a nice day.
Hello everyone. Thank you again for joining us for this webinar today. So friends, last time we spoke about why data is so important and any agricultural activity and to become successful in agripreneurship, and how all organizations and stakeholders involved in agri value chain are using data to take better and more informed decisions, right from seed production companies to other input companies like pesticide and fertilizer companies, banking and financial institutions, commodity traders, insurance companies, contract farming companies, and other government and development agencies. So all of these stakeholders involved in agri value chain are increasingly using data for their business purposes, and at the same time helping farming community to become more successful, help them do better and sustainable farming practices. So that's what we discussed in our last episode of webinar. And we also discussed how our solution Smart Farm is helping all businesses capture this data in the most efficient manner, at the same time help them with the reporting of the data being captured from the field, from the grounds to the management in near real time, so that it can be used to take quick business decisions and to respond to any untoward situation in their business on the field, or to the farmers, interact with their ground operation staff, interact with their farmers, their grower base. So today we are going to dive deep into our solution Smart Farm, which helps in digitizing your complete farming operation. It's a comprehensive farm management solution. You can also call it an ERP, you can call it a CRM, or you can just call it a software solution which helps you to digitize and automate your farming operation right from before the sowing is done, the land is prepared, till the harvest is taken. So friends, first I'm going to start by showing you the mobile application which is used to capture the data, which can be given to your ground staff, to your field operators, to your field officers, to anyone who is basically interacting with your farmers or to your growers. So as you can see on the screen, this is the mobile application. The first step is to register all your growers. Now you may have your own farms where you have field supervisors or laborers or someone who is managing all the fields. So they will register all the details of all the different plots and different growers. Or maybe you are working with, let's say, hundreds of farmers across the region. So there you will register all your farmers. So first step, by pressing this plus icon button on the screen, we can start with the farmer registration process. And before we, while we are taking all the details, we can also capture the picture of the farmer. So by clicking on the take picture icon, the camera icon on the screen, you click on this icon and you can simply take a picture of the farmer. Then you can punch in the farmer name, address, other contact details. So basically, you can capture all socioeconomic details of the farmer. You can even capture his farm's record, for example, his land survey number, or any other code number given to that piece of land by the local government body. So you can capture all that information. You can capture farmers' bank account details, since you will be procuring from those farmers, and at the end of the season, once they have sold their produce to you, you will also require you will be doing financial transaction with the farmers. So you can capture their bank account details, and basically you can capture all the details, their family details. You can, if you wish to, you can also capture what other activities farmer is involved in. For example, this farmer has any other, is easy involved in any other activity other than actual farming, that is maybe poultry or maybe dairy or maybe animal husbandry, or maybe he runs his own some small shop in his village. So anything like that. So basically it gives you more sense of that farmer and his mindset. So that's the first step. The second step will be registering the plot of the farmer. So we always talk in plots because what will happen is the farmer may have, let's say, 10 acres or 10 hectares of land, and which is spread across, and it is in multiple different plots. So let's say he has 2 acres in one village, and another maybe 8 acres in some different village. So we always talk in plots. So we identify farmers' land by plot, and we can say plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, so on and so forth. Once that activity is done, and if you are an established company who's been working with farmers for some years now and who's implementing this solution, you can simply load the complete database of all the farmers directly in the system. And you can assign the farmers, region-wise to respective field officers. So let's say, your field officer A is working in village B to C. So all the farmers in B to C will be assigned under field officer A. So this is how the list looks like to your field officer. So this is how the application looks like to the field officer. The field officer will be able to see the details of all the farmers and all the plots that he's supposed to take care of. He's supposed to visit them periodically. He's supposed to capture some information from those farmers, from those fields. At the same time, he's also supposed to pass on some kind of knowledge or information to the farmers. So let's say he is visiting this one farmer called, Aditya. So once he's there at that farmer's farm, he simply opens up, he simply clicks on the name of that farmer, and he will be able to see all the activities that he's assigned for that particular farm. So whenever he visits this farm, he will be able to see what activity he's supposed to do when he is on that particular farm. Whether he's supposed to capture some information, whether he's supposed to pass on some information, whether he's supposed to capture some kind of data which is asked by management, some specific information. So all the activities that he's supposed to do, he will be able to see like this on the main page of the screen. As you can see, the first activity over here is area audit. Then there is seeds. So which means that maybe he was asked to capture some seed information. So this is how we will be able to see. So the very first activity that happens is once the plot is registered, we simply go ahead and capture the latitude and longitude of that particular plot. So by clicking on this geotag icon, we can simply capture the latitude and longitude of the plot. As you can see, to continue, let your device turn on location, which uses Google's location service. I will click on OK. And you can see the land updated with geotag. So now that particular plot is updated with geotag. Then maybe next time when he visits that plot, he is supposed to capture area audit. Now, friends, the reason to geotag the plot to capture the latitude and longitude of the farm is simply to know the where this plot is located, and besides that, it also helps in planning other activities. For example, you wish to send a new user to that field, so you now have the latitude and longitude of that plot, so you can simply use the maps and you can visit that place. Maybe you can advise the user to use the beat map according to the village and the plot that he's supposed to visit. Then comes another activity which is very critical again, is area audit. So as you can see, the first activity on this screen is area audit. So we click on area audit. So area audit is a feature to capture the actual land holding, how big the area is of that particular plot or the farm. So farmer will say, once you associate with a farmer, you make him your partner, and you decide to procure from that farm, you're going to plan your supply chain accordingly. You're going to plan your input management accordingly. And you're basically going to do all your projections basis the number of acreages or number of hectares that you are working on, that you are currently. So let's say you are doing potato and you are working with 100 farmers. Each farmer is having, let's say, 1 acre. So in that case, you will be working on 100 acres of land, and now you know that out of 1 acre I'm getting 1 ton of potatoes. So out of 100 acres I'm going to get 100 tons of potato. So this is a very simple calculation. But let's say you are working with maybe hundreds of farmers, maybe thousands of farmers, and each farmer has maybe 1 acre or 3 acres or 7 acres, and it becomes very challenging to actually track and do the projection of the production. So the best and the simple way would be to find out how big the land holding is. So farmer will say, this is my plot, and on this plot I'm going to sow potato for you, and this is a 2-acre plot. So now we really need to find out whether it is really a 2-acre plot, or it is more than that, or it is less than that. So what we can do is we can simply walk on the periphery of the plot. We can walk on the boundary of the plot with this mobile application, smart farm application in your user's mobile phone. And he will press on this green icon button over here like this. And at the starting point, then he starts walking. At every turn in the plot, he simply keeps tapping this button. And once he is back at the starting point, he will press the same button to stop his activity. And by doing that, now we have the actual land holding of that farmer. So once that activity is completed, you will know that farmer said that this is a 5-acre plot. Whether it is really 5 acre, it can be more than 5 acre also. It can be 5.5 acre or 6 acre, or it can be less than 5 acre. Maybe 4.5 acre or 4 acre or something like that. So now we know exactly how big that plot is now. And very important part, and a very important feature, in fact, a very interesting feature is that our application is an Android-based application, and it supports almost every latest version, as well as some few last versions of Android. And we generally like to assume that most of the users working at the field level will be using, and in fact are using Android devices, which is widely accepted mobile technology across. So yeah, it's an Android application. Another most interesting and in fact very, very important feature is that application works in offline mode. So you don't really have to worry about whether there will be internet connectivity or phone connectivity when your field officer is visiting the farm. they can simply capture all information, even if there is no mobile or internet connectivity, since the application works in an offline mode. So that's about area audit feature. Now let me show you how this looks like on the map. So when we are doing all of this, we also want to know how each of these features are, how this data is captured is actually going to reflect on the web dashboard. So web dashboard is a visual analytics tool which is given to the management. So it is a very simple, web-based application, and you can log into this application just the way you log in to your LinkedIn or a Facebook account. And in fact, it is simple to operate as well. So now we are on the web dashboard. And as you can see, it has some numbers and some icons and kind of map like a screen. So let me explain you a bit about that. So the screen at the top, all the numbers at the top are your macro view of your farming operation. It talks about the number of farmers you are working with, number of plots you're working on. As we discussed that each farmer will have, maybe one plot or multiple plots. He will have one farm, which he will say, I have 5 acres, but 2 acres. That is spread across, multiple plots in 2 acres, 1 acre and another 2 acre pieces of land. So number of plots you're working on. Then acres declared and acres audited. So now, the farmers declared you're working with 100 farmers. They declared we have 1 acre each. So of course, it's 100 acres. But then you actually go to their fields and you capture the land holding, the size of that plot. So that's when we discover how big the land area is. So it can be more, it can be less, but yeah, we actually get the actual figures. So it talks about acres declared and acres audited. Then this is this number over here. You see 70.27 tons of harvest forecast. So this is basically the forecasting of the harvest basis, the information captured from the field while registering the farmers. So they have 1 acre, you are doing potato, the standard output of the potato, the benchmark in that region is, let's say, 1 ton per acre. So we are doing on 100 acres. So the benchmark output will be, the standard output should be around 100 acres. So it talks about, it says that you're going to get 100 tons of potatoes. Now this tons of loss reported. So tons of loss reported, this is data captured by your field officer when they visit the farm, and farmer says that, okay, this piece, this is part of plot is not really performing well. There is some virus attack or some kind of a problem which I'm not really able to figure out, and I need your help. And it's really impacted quite some area of my farm right now. So there again, we will go back to the mobile application, and I will show you how that part works. And before I show you that, let me first tell you about this web dashboard. So as this talks about your number of farmers you're working, number of plots you're working on, area declared and area audited, tons of harvest forecast, tons of loss reported, and tons of estimated harvest. We will talk about each of these numbers and features and details. And on the left, you can see these are multiple filters. So let's say you're working on multiple crops. You're working on potato, you're working on tomato, you're working on okra. So you're working on multiple crops and commodities. So you will be able to filter out different crops that you're working on, different variety that you're working on. So these are all different filters over here. Crop variety wise filter and alert type filter. So you want to see what kind of problem has occurred where, so you can simply filter it out and you will be able to see which plots are going through what kind of a problem. Harvest percentage, from where you are going to get more than 100% harvest, from where you are expecting about 80 to 100% harvest, and from where the harvest is going to start in next week, a week after that. So these are all different filters that you can use. So this is about the web dashboard. It's, as I said, a visual analytics tool to given to the management. All the data which is captured from the mobile application, it then goes to the cloud server, and then from there you are able to access that data using this web application over here. It gives you a picture of your complete farming operations, a complete project story basically. And then it also helps you generate all the different reports that you have asked for. System will generate about 15 different types of reports, and then there are a lot of customized reports as well. So you will be, I'll take you through the report section as well. So now all the icons you can see on the field are green icons and pink icons. So let's say we have clicked on one of the icons, and it will give you the summary of that particular plot. So all those icons are basically all your plots. The green icon indicate that that particular plot is healthy, and the pink icon indicate that there is some kind of a problem reported from that plot. So the moment you click on that icon, it gives you the summary of that particular farmer and the farm. So as you can see over here, the farmer and his picture, and it also creates the digital scorecard, the digital report card of that farm and the farmer. So you are also digitizing complete farms and farmers information. Now this is the summary of this farmer. The farmer name over here is Sagar. He is doing rice hybrid I-108 main field variety. And this particular plot is plot number 3 out of all the plots. And he said that it's a 1 acre plot, but we actually found out that it's 0.51 acres. So yeah, that's kind of almost 0.49 acres of deviation, which is quite a big deviation. This will tell you it's how many days it's been since sowing was done, and expected crop stages in since so when the procurement will actually start from this particular plot. And this blue bar on the bottom, it talks about the harvested quantity from this plot. So let's say 93% is already harvested. Last harvest was done on this date. So friends, this is for the demonstration purpose. So of course, a lot of dates and the numbers you will find are not so much in line with actual crop or maybe actual sowing date and the actual harvest quantity. As I said, it's for the demonstration purpose. But of course, when we configure the system for you, it will be exactly the way you want. And another important factor is that this whole solution is basically a platform. It's not a crop agnostic or a region agnostic. You can have as many crops configured on this platform, and you can manage as many crops, as many varieties of those crops, as many farmers and farms as you want. And it can be, your operations can be spread across the region. You can have operations in one country, you can have operations in 10 countries. It doesn't really matter. You can basically take care of all those activities right from one single platform over here. So yeah, now let's move to the alert module, where I was saying that all the pink icon denote that there is some kind of problem reported from this plot. So let's say your field officer was on this particular farm, and he said that there is some problem reported. So what we do is at Cropin, we help you build the complete knowledge base of that crop into the system. When I say knowledge base, it means we, with input of your experts, we build the complete information related to the crop. So let's say you are doing potato, and you must have some agronomist, or you are an expert yourself on your crop potato. So you know what possibly can go wrong throughout the season, right from the sowing is done till the harvest is taken. So you will say that some kind of pest attack can happen, some virus attack can happen. If the climate changes for worse, then some climatic condition virus can attack the crop. So there are multiple threats to the crop, right from the sowing is done till the harvest is taken. So what we do is we build that knowledge base of the possible threats to the crop along with the repository of the images of those threats. So I'll show you an example. Now, let's say you want to add the problem on this plot. So you tap on this plus button over here and go over here. The first attribute over here is alert type, and your field officer basically will simply select on the alert type. Now you can see over here, he can see the image of different problems. So in this case, we are able to see beetle and mildew. So he will be able to see the image over here. He will match this image with the actual problem in the field, which he is able to see right there in front of him when he's there on that farm along with the farmer. So he will match this image with the problem in the field, and he will say, okay, yeah, this is the problem. And we have also mentioned the symptom. So if it is a beetle, then beetle in the farms so there are symptoms mentioned over here. And then the advice is given over here. So advice is, let's say, spray insecticide or provide sticky traps, 10 numbers per acre. So he will simply be able to give this advice to the farmer. Now, the beauty of this whole, very simple innovation is that the person who is at the farm, your field officer, let's say he is someone who is an agronomist, or most of the time, that person is someone who is just a normal person who is not from the agriculture background. So still he will be able to give the same level of advisory what an agronomist would have given to that farmer. So here he will select this, he will give this advisory to the farmer, he will assess the loss in that particular plot in that farm, and let's say he will say it's about 10% loss. So out of 1 acre, 10% of the crop is lost, and the date, on which date this happened. So now, while advising, he's also capturing this information. So you know what had happened on all your plots and what was the advice given, how much loss we are projecting in this season from all those plots. So it basically helps you structure the complete data in a very appropriate manner so that you can use all this information. So now you know that this plot was affected or infected by beetle, and about 10% of the area got damaged, the crop got damaged, and on this date it happened, and this was the advice given. And probably after giving that advice, the problem, we could control the spread of that virus or that pest in that plot, and we could control the damage. So once that is done, you can simply save over here, and you can go ahead. So that's one. Let me show you. So let's say this is how it will look to you over here in the alert module. So over here it's summary, and over here it's alert. So this is how, this is a very simple, actually, and a very small level of innovation done by our team at Cropin. But you see, it actually helps the farmer, it helps the management, and at the same time, it helps the person who is going to visit the farmer. Now, there is no internet connectivity required since this metadata is already there in the system. So he will simply be able to see it when he's at the farm. He does not have to rely on any external support. He does not have to call anyone back in office or any expert. And neither does farmer have to really rely on any external support. The moment farmer reported this problem to the field officer, he will open it up, he will match the problem, he will see the image, check the problem, to match the image with the problem in the field, and simply will be able to see the advice, what is the best advice and the best way out of this problem, and simply communicate the same to the farmer, and it's done. It's as simple as that. Then you can see its stages over here. This is stages means crop stages. So whenever your field officer had any farmer's plot, he can simply, go to the crop stage like this over here on the crop stage activity. And he can simply click over here. He can select at what stage the crop has reached. Sowing, germination, growth stage, maturity stage, or harvesting stage. So let's say it is probably a growth stage and you want to capture the image. So you simply click on the camera icon and you can take the image like this over here. Then you can take multiple images actually. So that's how you can see the crop images over here. So as you see, this first image is male transplanting. It was taken, it happens about 46 to 50 days after the sowing. And then you see it's tillering. And then, yeah, these images are not loading, but yeah. So you will be able to see the images of your crop. Then this talks about the activities. So now this is, very important part where, and I would like to emphasize, and I like to elaborate a little more. So activities is all the tasks that you wish your field officers should do day to day or whenever they are visiting their respective farms and farmers. So as per crop, let's say, we have taken an example of potatoes. So I think we'll continue with that. Maybe I think it's my favorite, food item to eat, like, potato chips and, potato something and some, that's more of a staple for us over here where I am based in India. So yeah. So I think we are going to continue with the same commodity potato for now. So let's say, you have designed the complete structure, how the flow should go right from the sowing is done till the harvest is taken for potato. You would want your field officers to visit probably every 5 days to each plot. And then once they are there at the plot, you would like them to capture some kind of an information as to whether the planting is done or not. If the planting is done, then at what stage the crop has reached. If the germination has already happened, then whether farmer has applied the required fertilizers or manures or any sort of chemicals or anything organic or bioorganic manures that he's supposed to apply. So all those activities will be designed by you. And whenever the field officer visits that particular farm and he will open that farmer's instance, he will be able to see this is the activity that I'm supposed to conduct today. And once he opens that activity module, he will be able to see what kind of data is required to capture. So in this case, you can see on the screen is, he's supposed to capture average A-line PI length in millimeter. So his reading is next to the attribute, which is 250 mm. So you see, he simply is able to see what I'm supposed to do today, and he will simply capture that information. So now sitting in office in some remote location, which is maybe hundreds or thousands of miles away from that plot or that farm, you know what exactly is going on that field. So you have given the first activity over here as you wanted him to go and check what is the average A-line PI length, what is the average R-line PI length, what was the action, that is GA3 spray, and when is the next observation date. So he will simply capture this data right in front of the attribute name, and you will be able to see this on this web dashboard. The next activity, as you can see, the next time when he is visiting the same plot, he is supposed to capture, basal nutrition, whether it is done or not. Female transplanting date, when was the female transplanting done on that plot. Now, what is the space given from female to female space in centimeters? So it's mentioned 18 centimeters. So he will go and actually check in the field what is the space given by the farmer. And the same way, so you can see all list of all data sets that he's supposed to capture from the field. the first interculture, whether it's done or not, the first weeding, when was it done, insecticide, which is, let's say in this case, it's a, something like Fatera spreading. So, whether in how much quantity or in how much numbers it's supposed to be done. So whether it's done or not, and if it is done, then in what number. So like this, we can design all activities, for that crop, for that season. And you can edit and add new activities whenever you want. So we'll go to that module, activity module, and I'll show you how that looks. Then this talks about chemicals, which is a complete integrated package of practices and integrated fertilizer and pest management plan. So for each crop, each variety, and each farmer, you would want to have a very specific package of practices designed, and at the same time that a package of practices should be communicated to the farmer at the right time. So you have designed this whole POP plan, and it's there in the system. So whenever the field officer visits, he will be able to see what kind of spray this farmer is supposed to do for this particular crop today, and what quantity he's supposed to spray. If it is to be mixed with some other kind of a chemical or maybe a water or something, then how he's supposed to do, and complete details right from the first spray till the last spray or application of any pesticide or fertilizer on that crop in that field. So it's completely integrated pest management plan and fertilizer management plan. And this is the weather module, where I'll show you on the application also how it looks on application. So this is how it looks like. This weather is taken, it talks about the place where I am located right now. So as you can see, it gives you today's weather, and then next 4 days weather. So at what speed the wind is blowing, and what is the humidity level, what is the maximum temperature, what is the minimum temperature, and complete details. It says the sky is clear today, which of course I can see right now, it's clear. So yeah, this is a very good weather update. It's an open source weather data, but yes, you can pretty much rely on this weather data. And friends, let me show you some more interesting features of this application. So as you can see, you are able to see add farmer button over here, then summary button, inventory button. So now this inventory module is very interesting, because in many cases you will give your farmers some inputs, like you will give them some seeds, you will give them some fertilizers. So basically a lot of companies and a lot of individuals do this to build loyalty with the farmers, and also ensure that farmer at the end of the season does not go anywhere else and simply comes to you with his produce. So you can manage all that inventory over here, how much seeds were given to this farmer, and according to as per the quantity of the seed, he should actually get so much output. So you can basically track all that information, so you can manage the inventory. Now we can see the event module over here. So we'll go and check the event module. So now this event it can be any sort of an event. It can be a farmer training event. It can be farmer meeting event. It can be some kind of a product demo. It can be a field demo. So it can be any kind of an event. It can be knowledge sharing event. So any kind of an event you can see, you can manage using this application. So let's say you want to add new events. So to add any actually activity or event or anything, or farmer details or plot details, you simply click on the plus button over here, and you can start adding the event. So you will type the event name over here. What is the event? So let's say this is a farmer training event, the address, when this event will start and end date, and for what crops or what seed or anything. So since we have mentioned training, so what kind of a training this is. So let's say this is potato demo training. And let's say we start the date today, 2, and end date is today at 6. Okay. So maybe we are going to do this event starting now till 6 p.m. And then days after sowing. So since we are giving this training on potato, so when this event was conducted after sowing, so let's say it is 10 days after sowing, and this is product participant survey. So whether you want to capture any participant survey, so let's say product demo feedback survey, and then you add event over here, and an event name of course is mandatory, so it's training. So we have mentioned training over here. And then comes the location. So it will auto fetch the location. So I will select my city over here. And if there are any products, so along with this crop, if you are also showing any products, so you can select the product. So let's say maybe we'll just select some random product, fertilizer. And if we are going to conduct this event on some demo plot, so let's say we are going to conduct this event on Aditya demo plot number 137. So we select that plot over here and we add event over here. So now this is how the event is added. So now you can see the data is successfully added, and the first event you can see is training. So we go to this event, and we can do all sorts of activities. So you can invite all the farmers from here. So you will simply take the check the boxes, and you will farmer register successfully. So we had selected 4 farmers. All those 4 farmers have been registered for this event successfully. Now we want to send message. Would you like to send SMS to participants? Yes. So your SMS has been sent. So you see, it's so simple even for your field officer to plan an event. So you simply tell your field officer or your manager in that region that, listen, we need to plan a new event. We need to train our, these 100 farmers on the best practices, or maybe the best sustainable practices, and how to use less water and get more crop, and all those kind of ideas you can share in training sessions. So you simply tell them, they do that. You send SMS, you can share location, fetching location, geotag. So whenever you are at the demo plot, you simply fetch that this is where I am doing this event. And then you can probably, capture information, so you can capture the photo of all the participants who had come. And event once completed, so you can do that. What was the cost? Of course, for all the events, whenever you are calling some farmer, you might offer them some pleasantries like maybe tea, coffee, something like that. So you can capture the cost of that event. You can capture the feedback, create a follow-up event if you want to, and starting in days and how many days you want to create a follow-up event. So all this activity can be done right from this mobile application. So that was the event module. So these are all various modules which can be used from here. So this is the main page of, so you want to set up a crop. So it's onion, you want to add some new crops. So you simply click on add. We'll select allium, variety, and we click on save. So it gets saved, and you'll see immediately the new crop is added over here. And on the top of the application, you are able to see harvest, from where you are going to get how much harvest. Received harvest, so you are going to start receiving the harvest. So as you can see, it gives you the complete details, harvest date and harvest quantity. Activities, so it will let your users see all the activities that they were assigned during that period. So this is about the mobile application. Now let us go back to our web application over here. So we are back to the web dashboard. So we have covered this main dashboard. Now let me show you a little bit of a setup part. How do we actually set up? So you can configure the company, configure the crops. So we want to today, want to talk about how we can configure the crop. So let's say you want to set up a crop. It's variety. You want to set up SKU types, create activity plan, create input plan, set up harvest plan. So let's say we have already, for the demonstration purpose, we have already done some setup of two different crops. One is rice nursery and one is rice main field. Now we are going to create an activity plan. So once you have set up the crop, you will simply select, you can select from here. So let's say what is the activity plan for rice, or we can click on add new activity. And we can copy this from the preset crops that we already have selected over here. So this is how your complete activity schedule that you have designed looks like over here. So you selected rice, the crop is right, the variety is nursery, the activity plan is rice hybrid I108 nursery 1. So you can name this whatever you want. And this is the activity schedule 1. What is the activity name? Again, you can name this activity, whatever suits you best, whatever you feel like. Days after sowing. Now this is important. When this activity is to be done and how many days once the crop sowing is done. So let's say crop sowing was done on 1st of Jan. So activity is supposed to be done 5 days after the sowing. So it's supposed to be done on 5th and the interval days. So what this means is that in how many days this activity is supposed to be completed. So it is supposed to be started on the 5th day of sowing, which is 5 days after sowing, and it should be completed within 10 days after the start. So it should be completed probably 15th. It should be completed before 15th of Jan. So you have 10 days of time. Within those 10 days, you are supposed to complete this activity. To whom you want to assign this activity? So you will simply select the users that you want to assign this activity to. And what this means is that only those users will be able to see this activity, not everyone. So let's say you have 100 field officers who are working with thousands of farmers. And of course, you don't want everyone to see all the activities being assigned to everyone around. And maybe you're working on multiple different crops. So you're working on potato, rice, corn, millet, a lot of different crops, and maybe some spices and multiple different commodities you're working on. So you don't want person who is managing potato to see the rice activities and the person who is managing rice activities to see the potato activities. So you simply can assign the activity to the targeted user who is going to do this activity, and then you start adding the fields over here. So let's say in this case you have added field history. So you want to find out what is the history of this field, whether the farmer was doing rice or he was doing some other crop. So let's say whether it's a rice or non-rice options. So now what happens is that even in capturing the data from the mobile application, we have made it even simpler by giving an option to you whether you want to have your field officers typing most of the data or simply giving them options in drop-down menus so that they don't have to type, they don't make a lot of errors, and they simply select option, let's say true or false, yes or no, A or B, 1 or 10. Simple options, and they just hit on that option and you get that data. So the data type means how that data should be captured. The data should be captured in drop-down menu and what options you want to give them, rice or non-rice. The same as seed treatment. So again, the data type, the way it will show up on their mobile application is drop-down. So they will be able to see yes. When they click on the drop-down icon, they will be able to see yes, no, incomplete, satisfactory, alternate. Seedling density, drop down, again low, satisfactory, or high. So as you see, most of the data types are given in drop down so that they don't end up typing and they don't end up making any errors. And you get the precise information from them. Now, this activity is already designed over here. Let me show you how to create a new activity. So you simply hit on this button link over here, add activity schedule. So we do that. And you see the new activity schedule is open. This is schedule number 5. So let's say this activity, you type the activity name. Let's say we check the field status, days after sowing. Let's say we type maybe 120 days after sowing. Interval days, let's say 5 days. It should be done within 5 days. He's supposed to go to the field and check the status of the fields. And then you want to assign, so you have like say 4 users. So let's say we assign this to field officer and any suggestions you want to give him. So you can simply type any suggestion you want to give him and you start adding the field over here. So you want to say, find out harvest maturity. You want to drop down and yes, no, maybe in another 5 days. So you give them 3 options. So when they click on this drop down on their mobile application, they will be able to see yes, no, or maybe in another 5 days. So it's as simple as that. You simply click on the save icon over here. You can see this floppy disk icon, which is save button. Of course, these all buttons are very universally acceptable and understandable buttons. So anybody, everyone is able to understand. So you click on this save button over here and you save this activity. You want to delete, so it's again click on this delete icon over here and gets deleted, and you want to restore. So if something else was mentioned over here and you change it, so you can simply click on restore and it gets restored to its original activity and the data. So it's as simple as that. Now let me show you create input plan. So in the same way, the way we design a new activity, you will be able to design new input plan. So again, let's say we select the crop, and over here you can see the schedule 1 is already designed. What is the schedule name? What is the method of application? What is the justification for the use? You can define, you can advise whether this chemical can be mixed or not. So when you have checked this box, it will automatically mean that farmer has to mix these chemicals that you're going to mention over here and spray in the field. And if you haven't checked this box, you have left it just like that, that means that they cannot mix these chemicals. So let's say again in this, I'll show you, I'll open a new schedule and do that. So you can name the schedule, the method of application, the justification. You can mix chemicals, when this is to be sprayed. So let's say this is to be sprayed 25 days, interval days, it should be sprayed within 3 days. Grace period, if any, let's say we can give another 2 days as grace period, because we know people may or may not be able to complete their activities in the timely fashion. So we just might want to consider that part and tell them that, okay, you still have another 2 days and you might want to complete this activity. You might want to spray this fertilizer to get the maximum output from your field. Any month, so let's say if it's a long period crop, maybe it's a 12-month crop, so you can simply select the month. So let's say we are in Jan right now, so we select February over here. And once you select the month, it automatically days after sowing and interval days will disappear. So we don't want to select any month and we want to keep it like this. So days after sowing, 25 days after sowing, maybe 3 days, and grace period is 2 days. And you start adding chemicals over here, whether it's a fertilizer or a pesticide. Let's say it's a fertilizer. Let's say it's DAP, and what sequence. So this is the sequence number 1, and what quantity, what kg, what concentration. So this concentration is basically when you are supposed to mix this fertilizer in water and spray, or with some other chemical and spray. So you simply mention that over here, concentration unit, which is, gram per liter, or let's say, milliliter per liter. So in this case, it's gram per liter. So you're supposed to mix 100 gram per liter of water. So you have to mix about 1 kg. So you will simply take 10 liters of water. And in the same way, you save, and it starts showing up on your field officer's mobile application that this is the input plan for this particular crop design. And next time when I'm on the field, or on that particular day when I'm on the field, I'm supposed to tell farmer that you are supposed to spray this chemical today. And it automatically calculates the date. So let's say the sowing was done on 1st of Jan. So days after sowing is 25th, so 25 days. So it will automatically capture 25th of January. The farmer is supposed to spray this chemical, spray this fertilizer on the field. So as you see, a lot of things are actually in the background happening automatically. So that's because, we have embedded a lot of machine learning and very advanced algorithms on this platform to help you automate, this whole farm digitization process, and at the same time to help you get the right information at the right time, and take, more informed and better decisions in your business, and help you grow your business basically. So that's how we configure the crop and activity plan and the input plan. In the same way, you can set up the harvest plan, which means from which plots you want to take harvest and when you want to take harvest. Even in harvest plan, you can define the harvest plan grade wise. So let's say you are expecting that from this one particular plot, we are going to get maybe 2 different grades of the same crop. Let's say we are doing potatoes, so we are going to get some very big good potatoes, and in the same field we also will get some small potatoes, small size of potatoes. So you can define the different grades of harvest plan. And then you can add crop price over here if you wish to. You can also create additional forms if you want to capture some additional information from the field, which is not there in the activity plan. So you can simply capture in the additional custom form. You can create as many custom forms as you want. If you want to give some product details over here. So these are all added features of this tool. So whenever we are doing an implementation, so our team travels to your location, and it stays with you for about a couple of days. It trains everyone in your team, right from people in the management, your agri operations team, to your field officers who are actually going to use the mobile application, on how to use mobile application. They actually visit with your field officers to some of the fields nearby, and show them how to capture the area, how to do the area auditing, how to capture geotagging, how to capture all information basically. And to management, show you how to use this whole dashboard, how to create new activities, configure the crop, configure company, and things like that. So complete training is given by our team. And at the same time, we also do hand-holding right from the project implementation till the time we are using our solution. There is complete hand-holding. A dedicated project manager is assigned, a customer success manager is assigned to your project, who is constantly in touch with you, and who is available to support you whenever you want. And then there is a standard support as well, right? Like a standard support time is about 8x5 support, which means Monday to Friday, 8 hours in a day. And then if you want, you have operations in multiple countries, and you think that you will require 24/7 support, we can arrange that as well. So even that should not be, even that is really not a challenge for us for Cropin. So now let us go to report section. So let me first directly take you to the overview. Let me also go to some other demo account and see and show you some interesting reports over here. So in overview, you get to see complete overall progress of the entire project. Overall progress, crop loss, harvest information, audit status, number of farmers, sowing area, total plots, everything, like complete information is over here. Now let's go to detailed reports. Now each of a report you will be able to download in multiple formats, which is Excel, CSV, XML, and PDF, and even Word. So you can use the report as you want to. You can download it in Excel, and then you can run your other formulas on that report, and maybe you can share it with some external parties of your organization. So let's click on the detailed reports over here. So as you can see, there are so many reports generated for this account. Let's start with farmer details. So it will give you details of all the farmers that you are working with. As you can see, this is the list of all the farmers, their address, complete details, their location, agricultural land, when that farmer was registered. And as I said, you can download in Excel, PDF, CSV. These are different formats you can download this report. Then plot details. In plot details, it will talk about the plots, all the plots that you have registered of all those farmers. Farmer code, farmer name, mobile number, address, geotag status, whether it is geotagged or not. So you can find out how many plots which are registered, of all the plots that are registered, how many of them your field officers have geotagged and how many of them are not. So you can, simply, so now let's say the second one is not geotagged. So we can, this plot is now managed by someone called Naveen, and it is assigned to, two people, Ramesh and Rahul. So you can call up these guys and you can ask them why these plots are not geotagged. Sowing dates, complete information about that plot you will be able to see here. And again, you will be able to download these reports in all these formats. Let me show you some more interesting reports like harvest projection week-wise. So as I said, we can also generate some customized reports for you. So you think that, some sort of data sets are more important, we can generate the custom forms, and once that data is captured, we can generate the report basis that data for you, a customized report basically, which is not here. So you have some specific in mind, you can tell it to your project manager, and he or she will help you out building the reports. So we are now looking at harvest projection week-wise report. So from where we are going to get how much harvest. So again, maybe this is for demonstration purpose. So there are not many numbers captured. So let me go into a different demo account and see whether there's anything over here. In the same way, you will be able to see planned input. The planned input is something that you had already planned and advise the farmer that these are all inputs you're supposed to use. And then unplanned inputs. Farmer will use something that you have advised, and then he will use something of his own. Maybe he will think that, okay, this product is not available near my village, in my area, so probably I'll use whatever is available, and he will simply communicate with your field officer that that was not available. This is what is available, and I have used it. So that is unplanned input. Then maybe the climate changes, and the weather all of a sudden changes, and you think that there might be a rainfall and there might be some kind of a pest or a virus attack because of that. So you can advise your farmers that, okay, if this happens, then if your crop is under threat, if it rains and it may damage your crop, so probably you might want to use some specific chemical to control the damage. So even in those events, all those inputs which are used in such cases will be considered as unplanned inputs. So we are checking the harvest details over here. Harvest projection after re-estimation, re-estimated harvest date. And SKU type, you want to pack the produce in bags or crates or how. So you want to pack it in bags. 50 kg is going to be the size of each bag. This quantity total you're expecting from this plot is 5,000 kgs. Harvest grade is A grade. As you see over here, harvest date is this date over here. And on which date the harvest was captured on. So you can have, price, total price, vehicle details, complete details you can mention over here as per your requirement. So that now everyone, right from the people in the field, the farmers, your field staff, your ground operations team, as well as the people in the management, supply chain team, everyone is on the same page as to what's going on where and how things are moving and what are the developments happening at the field and the farm levels. So this is a sample of one report I'm showing, and as I said, there are multiple different reports generated. So at the same time, all these data sets which are captured during the season can also be used to provide you the traceability, which is end-to-end traceability, farm to fork traceability. Maybe feed to fiber, right from let's say farm to fabric traceability. So it gives you end-to-end traceability solution as well. So let's say plot level harvest details. Let us go and check other custom reports. So there will be some custom reports. So in this case, as you see, there are multiple custom reports, but here we go. This is for demonstration purpose. So there's not much data captured here. So probably there's nothing much to see for us over there. But I think I have made the entire point very clear that the system will generate certain reports, and then there will be some customized reports as per your requirements. Whatever the requirements you have, you can communicate to your project manager, and he or she will help you make those reports for you. Now, let me show you another interesting feature, which is Smart Pulse over here. It's actually a very simple tracking tool. Basically, you want to find out, you have maybe 100 field officers, and you want to know how each one is moving, whether they are really visiting the plots that they are supposed to visit. It's not like they are just capturing some random pictures of some plots close to your house or office, and they are simply updating those pictures. So to avoid that, to make sure and ensure that people are productive and they are doing the job that they were assigned, the task that they were assigned, we have developed this, built this Smart Pulse feature. So you don't need to give any separate application. It works in the same smartphone application. Whenever they open the application and do some transaction, it simply captures their location, and it works on GPS. So they really don't need any internet connectivity. So it basically helps them in, the battery saving. So they don't even come back to you and complain that because of this application, the battery is draining very fast, and we need to charge it very often. So to avoid all of that, we have built this very simple and highly advanced tracking the solution within this application. So you will be able to see their movement and all the transactions that they are doing. They are visiting some farmers, they are capturing crop stage or input details or seed details, or any transaction they are doing. Simply you will be able to see it over here. So this is where in the map you will be able to see the movement of your field staff. So again, this is for demo maybe. So some of it is not there. Let us go back in past and see if we can find something over there. So we want to go back in Jan on 14th and see if we can find anything. So we are going to select all transaction types, and we are going to click on apply. So I just hope there is some, so actually people need to move, to for you to see where they are moving and how many kilometers they are traveling and all of that. And we can go back as fast as 1 month from today's date. So here we have, I think the transaction captured is 1. Unfortunately, the distance traveled is 0 kilometer and farmer met is 1. We can download this as an Excel report. So let's download and see what's there in the report. So if he has traveled, let's say 55 kilometers, so it will simply show you over here that he's traveled 55 kilometers. And here we are, our report is downloaded, and let me open it and see and show you as well what's there. So yeah, here we can see that this user is administrator. Basically, this is the date, that is 14th of December. Transaction done was 1. And distance traveled is 0. Maybe let's say he's traveled 50 kilometers. He's met 1 farmer, and the application that he used to do this activity. So we have multiple applications for different solutions. Like for our sales solution, we have a separate sales application. For our farmer application is separate. So we have multiple different applications. Transaction, what he did, okay, he went to that farmer and he simply geotagged that farmer. So maybe that's the reason it's actually showing 0 kilometers. So maybe he's actually traveled 20 kilometers, but since he's visiting this farmer for the first time, it's just showing 0 kilometer because he's just first time tagged this farmer. So next time when his place to this place he's going, it will start showing number of kilometers he's captured. His travel, received date, latitude, longitude, farmer plot. It's some cotton farmer. So this is how it will look like. So friends, this idea of this webinar to give you an overview of our solution Smart Farm, how the data can be captured using mobile application, what all you can do with this solution. So as I said, you can manage all your farming activities, all the events, you are doing some training or farmer demos or product demos or training of the farmer or anything, basically knowledge sharing. So all of that can be managed. You can advise to the farmer. So advisory is also built into it very nicely and in a very simple and a very structured way. And plus a web dashboard, a very interactive tool to look at what things are happening at the field level, how the project is moving, how the crop is performing, how the fields are performing, what will be the production, when I can get harvest from which plots, how much quantity and things like that. So it basically helps you in building a very good relationship and loyalty with your farmers by helping them do the right, adopting the right practices, at the same time helping them if there is some kind of a virus or a pest breakout or any problem, of any challenges that they are facing. Because you have all the data, that's more important. The idea is that to have the right data, right information from the field. So that if you have the data, you can keep assessing that data, you can keep evaluating and keep doing analytics on that data. And then you can help your farmers. And at the same time, use the data for your business advancement. So that's, a complete, this is the overview of this mobile application as well as the Smart Farm web application, the dashboard, the tracking solution, again, very simple to see how the users are moving and whether they are sending you the right information and that all the users are productive actually in the field or not. And all different reports that system will generate and the customized reports that you may require. So friend, we have pretty much covered the Smart Farm solution in today's webinar. And I'm sure many of you must be having questions. My colleague Aditi is going to take over from me now, and she will take over the question and answers round from here. So friends, thank you once again for joining us on this webinar. And for any questions, you can, we are having this live question answer round, as well as you can visit our website, which is Cropin agri.co.in, and it's here. You can visit our website over here like this, and you can simply send your inquiry over here. You can click on the request demo button, and you can punch in your maybe some basic details like your contact number and email ID, and we will reach out to you. So friends, thank you so much. This is Bhavesh signing off now, and we wish to see you again in our next episode, which is coming soon.
Bhavesh, we received a lot of interest and questions from the audience today. Due to time constraint, we can't take your questions right now, but we will answer your questions and send it to you through personalized emails. Thank you all for attending the webinar and have a nice day.